want to do a radio check, mate. John? Oh, he's deaf.
My first flight in, actually I thought it was 2 months, but it's actually 3 months. Big Bird's been in the hangar getting some work done. The small part was the oil change and the filter change, which was due. But more importantly, I've now got my brakes working, so I can actually hold it for a mag check around about 3,500 RPM. Reading up on the specs for the Tanarg 912S, they suggest that I should be at full power and still be able to hold it with the brakes. So I'll test it on this while I'm taxiing out, and we'll see if it's up to spec. But I'm a lot happier now that I've got brakes that work properly. For those that don't know, on the Tanarg, my particular one has the, I guess, the Outback version. So it's got the wider tyres, and I've got brakes all round. So it's a two-part system. The front brake has its own master cylinder, and the rear brakes have their own master cylinder. And what had happened is that the rubbers for the master cylinders had worn or swelled. I think there's some contamination in the brake fluid I had in there. So I took it down to my local brake bloke, Brisbane Waters Brakes, run by Joe, great bloke. And he managed to find me the rubbers for the master cylinders and also the O-ring seals for the calipers. And I had the whole system overhauled by him. I reinstalled it myself and adjusted it all up, and it works perfectly. I've noticed there's some discussion on the type of fluid you need to put in the brake system for the Tanarg. It's definitely .4, so that's a brake fluid. I did have, I think the contamination that I had was transmission fluid that someone had put in previously, and that's what had caused the rubbers to swell in the master cylinder and in the calipers. And so I strongly suggest that you make sure you've got brake fluid or are using brake fluid. I also checked with the company in France, and they confirmed it's definitely brake fluid in this system. Well, let's go for a nice little flight to the entrance, and then we'll head down south to Terrigal and then back home. It's very smooth in the air at the moment. It's a very turbulent takeoff, which is pretty typical for Summersby. And if you just watch closely for the landing, it's pretty turbulent as well. I need to get another camera angle on the wing, which I think will give a better shot of exactly how the aircraft handles the turbulence. And but otherwise, you know, the Tanarg's made for, it's designed to cruise. It's really a cruising machine, and the wing normally is very, very stable. Well, here we come. This is landing here, so all over the shop, just as you get down to the treetops. A lot of turbulence runs over the top, but we made it safely to the ground. There we go. Beauty. Pull the bar in hard to help brake. And I don't normally use the brakes much when I'm landing, because there really isn't any need to. Okay, well, I'll see you next time.